Go ahead and today, January 4th, right? Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Avini Vibes. We're excited that you're here, and we're going to start the new year off right. Today is Thursday, January 4th, and we're just really blessed to have a great audience with us, and you are the special guest tonight. Although I do always say that you are the special guest, and I truly mean that. But we also have a very special guest with us tonight. So before we go any further, just so you know, a little housekeeping. If you would mute yourself for background noise. I'm going to try to do it too, because those two little dogs in the back of my background, they're here live with me and they have a tendency to bark. So I will mute myself as well. But thank you for being here. We got people from all over the country joining us with this incredible company, Avini Health, and we are just growing in leaps and bounds. So we're grateful that you're here. We welcome any guests tonight, and we urge you just, once you listen and you get your questions answered, please get with the person who invited you to this call tonight, okay? Because they must think you're very special to have invited you, for one. And again, we're grateful you're here. So tonight we're going to have the opportunity to hear from a gentleman who I just learned his last name because I just was introduced to him as Shu. So I call him Shu, but also I think when I called him up, Eddie said, gave me his name, and I said, "Hi, is this Robert?" And he goes, "No, this is Ray." So I'm like, "Oh, do I have the wrong number?" And he goes, "I just go by Shu." So same thing. I felt very comfortable knowing that you are easy to talk to, and I can tell already a man of integrity, a man that's going to share quite a remarkable story in his journey tonight. So welcome, Ray. Welcome, Shu. How are you tonight? And thank you for being with us.
Well, it's an honor. Like I say, I never even knew about this call or this Zoom. Um, really never saw it in the back office, to be honest. I didn't go past those 5 days other than, I guess, to Saturday, and I never look any further. So I've always missed this Zoom. I will be on it more often now that I know it exists. So yeah, it's a privilege. Very unexpected, to be honest, because I kind of feel like I'm a nobody and stuff per se, even though I'm kind of building in the business. I didn't plan on that. Um, wasn't my forte to do that in the business. I just like helping others. And so I just run and gun 6, 7 days a week. And it doesn't matter who's in front of me, I'm going to talk to somebody. But I'm originally born, raised in Missoula, Montana, and been a long time. Let's see, I guess we've been in Spokane now for about 13 years or so, and still have some relatives there and a little bit of property left there. We sold our business last year. I had a hazmat business we ran in 3 different states, had about 50 employees from time to time, and we're on call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And so my wife and I ended up doing real well, but we didn't end up with any friends because it was 7 days a week. She ran the office. I had a nephew that had ran away from home in high school, and I put him to work, and he retired with us. And so he was adopted. My wife got pinched between two cars in high school, so she couldn't have any kids. And my first wife lost a couple of kids on the operating table, so it scared the death out of me. So I went down and I got fixed. So then I met my wife, and that kind of worked out because neither one of us could have kids. And along came this little baby, a few hours old, and the parents didn't want it, the mother didn't want it, and we were able to snatch that little girl. And she's now 36 and has got her first child. She was a preemie baby, and her baby was a preemie baby. And she was one of the 9 girls that couldn't get pregnant and on the products for, I think it was 2.5 months. And all of a sudden got pregnant, and she's got a 5-month-old baby now, and healthy as heck and stuff. So I think in these beliefs for me, it's seeing it for 20 years, I guess. And I'm kind of infatuated by what Chip says is we've got a new bone structure now, and we've done it twice because it takes about 8, 10 years, I guess, to get a new structure. And since I've been on this for about 19 years, I feel now I've got a brand new body. I can actually afford to go out and break a bone. Um, But when you do fall down after being on this for a while, typically people just get back up, like Chip says. People that are not on these, they fall down and they need help, or they end up in the hospital or something like that. So I'm very fortunate because, knock on wood, I've never broke a bone in my life and stuff. But the products are just one of a kind. Yeah, where do you want me to go with this, Christine?
Well,
Um,
it looks like we have mostly new distributors, or we call them wholesale, wholesale customers. So we have we want to hear your story. So
oh
some
boy.
people are brand new. Some people are new and they don't know, like 18, the company is this old. However, you've been involved in it a little bit longer. So maybe you could just back up a little bit and give our listeners a little bit of an idea, your relationship with Chip and how you first got introduced and what you see of it going forward and
Yeah, I think I was brainwashed into network marketing when I was in grade school. My parents were in network marketing in grade school, and it was a company called Neutral Bio. They had two little plastic uh, cellophane bags, had two pills each in it. You could either choose chocolate or vanilla, and they were so big you couldn't swallow them. You had to chew them. And all I can remember is nobody could keep up with me and my brothers in high school or college. And I think if we went back to Havre, Montana and Bozeman, Montana college, you'd probably still see some records that we held to this day. We did amazing. Nobody wanted to hunt with us. Nobody wanted to play with us because we just had so much energy. So at a very young age, I thought, you know what? You have to have vitamins. You got to have that stuff if you want to fly and keep going. So I've always looked for that magic pill, I call it. And after having an unfortunate time in the service in Vietnam, uh, I was only in Vietnam for 2 hours in my unit and I got hit. And I laid in the hospital for 4 months and they offered me a medical discharge. I couldn't get a hold of my parents. And in my mindset, how do you get a job with a medical discharge? That was my mindset. So I said, no, I can't take that. So they sent me back to Vietnam, got hit one more time. And after that, I couldn't do a lot. My back was pretty messed up. And I couldn't even drive the Colonel around. The roads were so bad, it just tore me up. So they put me in a PX, kind of like Costco's. And I ran that until my time came up. And even then, when they said, okay, you can go home 3 months early and get out. So I headed back to the United States. They put us, six of us, in a barracks and they wouldn't let us out. We had no duties, no KP, no nothing. Well, I made a quick phone call to my dad, and lo and behold, you won't believe who my dad went to high school with. Senator Mike Mansfield. 2 days later, we were all out. And so my time in the service was not the best time. I joke about it now and then. I said, oh, I should have ran off to Canada, which I wouldn't do, but it wasn't my favorite. But when they told me I might be in a wheelchair or crutches the rest of my life, I went on a tear trying to find the next magic pill. And that's when I ran into Robin and Chip and Marcy. And that started a whole new gamut. There's not much I can't do today. I can still hurt myself being at my age, 78 years old, and stuff, but I don't feel 78. I'm moving and grooving every day. I'm hitting the road every day. Every day I put my coat on, the wife says, where are you going? I said, I don't know if somebody's gonna be lucky to see me today, but I just don't know who it is yet. And that's actually what I do every single day. I have no idea where I'm leaving the house unless I happen to have an appointment. But I just head out. I go to a body shop that I know some guys, or some shop that I can intermingle with somebody, and somebody's going to say I hurt somewhere. And I joined the VFW club here and try to get in there a little bit. Everybody's hurting in there. Um, but it drives me. I never did this for money. I can't tell you today, kind of a sorry statement. I can't tell you today how the comp plan works. I was held back in school because of my math. I don't know numbers. They don't gel with me. But I just drive myself. I just go and talk to people every day. This is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing. And my wife is behind me. She makes all my flyers, all my brochures, all my business cards. She doesn't go out with me. She just is behind the scenes, but she's always there. And it's the belief you get in these products after 20 years. Nobody can shut me down on these products. And my favoriteest thing to do is a three-way phone call. I do not sit down with somebody for 15 minutes and try to talk them into doing what I'm doing. I might talk 5 minutes, maybe, and I'm already on the phone. I don't tell them I'm going to call somebody. I just call Robin, call Chip, and the next thing you know, they're on the line doing a three-way phone call. I've never had anybody get mad. Everybody's been happy, and the next thing you do, they're asking questions. It's that simple. My job's done. Next, you don't have to know much in Avini to be successful. Robin says, you've made another rank. I said, what's that? What is it? I don't know what it is. I just never paid attention. That's kind of maybe stupid on my part, but it's just not my focus. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy talking with everybody. I enjoy going to the events. One of the funny ones, I got to make fun of Marcy here because she's not here right now. She might be listening. One of the events I went to years ago, she's in front of the audience telling her story. She's got to hold this little plastic bottle. And she says, girls, you have to carry this in your bra. You can't have it in your purse, on the counter, in your car. It has to be in your bra. And she's standing in front of 300 people. And I'm sitting back there. Did she just really say that? And so I just tease her about that to this day. Never forgot that. I can see her doing it right now. And so she had the belief, and I'm sure that's where I got a big part of it is from her. And you talk about Robin's testimony in her family. I asked Chip one day, I says, what about these female problems? Chip says, hang on a minute. You know who he called? He called Robin. Robin's got the hormone statements for the women. And so if I've seen him do it more than once when I get somebody on the call and all of a sudden that subject comes up. So the well-roundedness in those professional people is unchallenged.
Ray, I have a
And
question for you. So when
okay,
you and I chatted yesterday, and you just reaffirmed that today, a few minutes ago, that you get up every morning and you go out and you know that you're going to run into somebody that's going to speak of something. So you're pretty bold, and I know you told me a couple stories about where you feel led and called to. A lot of people you've run into with bad sales recently, and
oh my gosh.
you have no reason not to share because you have the answer. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think it just gave me a chill just now. Probably been 3 months ago. I was watching TV. I was here by myself at the house, and on local TV, they were interviewing a gal. She looked to be about 40 years old, and she had stage 4 bad cells. I don't have no idea why they were interviewing her. I'm still kind of wondering why she was on TV, and I didn't catch the whole thing. And so when hung up that segment was over, I called my wife on the phone. I says, honey, is there any way you can get on the TV channel and find out where this girl is? I need to talk to her. And my wife got on the internet and she found that girl. She lives out of town, about 40 miles in another town. She owned a coffee stand called Coffee Coma. What a neat name. And so the next day, I was at her doorstep and she had a minute or two to step out, sat down at one of her little tables. And I didn't talk to her for maybe 10 minutes. And the next person I had on the phone was Marcy. Marcy talked to her for maybe 5 minutes. And she turned to me and she says, can I borrow your phone? I'm going to take it inside and I've got to get my credit card. That's how fast that happened. And 2 months later, that girl had a clean bill of health.
Oh.
And that started a whole row of bad cell people coming into my life. Currently, I don't know, I've kind of lost count, 6, 7 people all of a sudden, just one after another. Didn't matter who I talked to, somebody had somebody that had bad cells. And I just keep chasing them down. Like, they've got to have the information. And it's Jody is one of them on there. She can share her story. She was a referral from another. They both, her referral friend, all three of us were from Montana in a different city. But the other one, which is Danielle, said, hey, you should talk to Jody. Maybe you can help her more than I can. So that's how I got introduced to Jody. But Jody can share a great testimony on her lifestyle, what happened to her. And she's just another one of the several that happened. I just had another one yesterday. Went to lunch with a guy I didn't know. I was invited to go to a lunch. And next thing you know, the guy that I know says, hey, you ought to share your stuff with this guy here. He's got a wife that's got da-da-da-da-da-da. And I never heard of it before. And so I didn't even say another word. I just says, call Chip. a chip on the phone, and they're in the mix right now and stuff. So I didn't have to know anything. I didn't know what the illness was. I didn't need to know. There's too many people that do know how to handle those calls, and I rely on them. I had somebody call me from California the other day. He said, "Can you do a three-way call with a friend of mine in Hawaii? She's a naturalist." I said, "Yeah, I can." I'm sitting here. What am I going to tell a naturalist? I'm not medical. And she says, "Well, she needs some help making three-way phone calls." So we talked about it. And after the phone call, I hung up and I'm sitting there 10 minutes later. I said, "Oh my God, I forgot to tell her. I did 4 three-way phone calls that day. And I didn't even know it. I kind of just, it's a natural thing with me. Three-way, four-way calls is the lifeblood of Avini. If you want to go somewhere fast, it's in a three-way phone call because you and I talking all day is just you and I talking. When you bring a third party in, they don't know from across the country or whatever, it's all of a sudden meaningful. And those people usually have the answers anyway, because I'm not medical. I'm a contractor by trade. I worked in a ditch and stuff. So having to know everything, please don't think you have to know anything. You need to know the phone number of your upline. That's all you need to know. And just go for it. You'll be amazed how fast you will grow. Yeah. Leaps and bounds.
Thank you, Ray. Jody, I don't know if you want to jump in. Ray gave you that intro. If you want to unmute and share, you're certainly welcome to. I want to encourage you to do that if you're up for that. And Ray, I like the way you approach going out the door. I was fortunate to have a father who was, I told you this yesterday, World War II veteran, 11 months gone, POW in Germany.
Mm.
And my father would lay in bed, like as I got older, I'd come home from college and visit with him. He'd be in there maybe, and I'd say, "What's so good about the day when it's raining?" And he was always an optimist, and he says, I'm under the warm covers, and I'm not in a wet tent." So every day was a gift to go out. And that's what I feel, the gift that we've all been given here, to go out every day. When I talked to you yesterday, it really urged me to two people for sure, top of mind, that I just learned yesterday that are dealing with those bad cells. And
You said that when we were talking. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, we're hearing this together. So we're grateful that you're bold the way you're bold to go out, and you don't know who's, God's going to put in front of you that day, who you're going to be there ready to speak to. And we are fortunate to have the opportunity to have a Chip Littlejohn with us, and Hannah Now's on, and Novella. We had a great team here brewing, and I like what they said on the corporate call the other night. There were only 500 of us on there. Only,
Only.
only. And Anik and I were the only two in New York. So, but feel free if anybody wants to jump in and ask Ray a question. You can either raise your hand and Carol will unmute you, or if you want to ask Ray a question about his story, or you have anything that you'd like to share, please do, because this is an open forum tonight. And I know Kyle's listening. Kyle Helms with us tonight. Kyle's not going to jump on because he's not able to jump on, but he's listening. But what Kyle always teaches us is that it's all about your personal testimonial, Ray, right? It's all about
Mhm.
your enthusiasm and your story. Each one of us offers each one a different story, and we build on those things. There's Jody. I see Jody. Hey,
Good.
Jody. She just popped in. All right. Well, the day that you're ready, I'm going to meet you eyeball to eyeball, hopefully at the summit in Las Vegas. Anybody want to ask Ray a question? Feel free to, about anything, or Chip. Chip's our medical scientist here. He's with us tonight. He can answer questions as well. So I want to just open that up. Eddie's got a question.
Yeah. Hey, Sue. Just wondering what you were pretty adamant early on about, being healthy and everything. When you first got a hold of the did you basically do the whole gamut all at one time? Is there any particular one that I know the tip of the spear is the cell defender? Like, like all these ailments, or was it just you just knew that you had to have some preventive maintenance, that kind of thing?
I grabbed everything that I could from those other companies. So, like I say, I was always looking for the products, not the revenue. And
Mhm.
there was another company that had 5 or 6 mushrooms, and I did that. Uh, there was a few companies I was with, one that had some magnetics, I did that. Some that had pretty good pure energized water, I did that. A PEMF machine, I did that. I threw everything I could get my hands on, and some of it was pretty expensive. Some of it had some benefits, but nothing has taken me over the top, which has been like Avini. Even after I got out of the service, I got real sick and ended up having to go into surgery, into hospital and stuff. We're assuming that was the defoliation product that they were doing over in Vietnam, because I had a lot of diseased organs and a lot of discomfort and whatnot, and they couldn't discover what it was. But back in the 60s, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't have much to test anyway, as far as technology. And so it was easier for them just to get the knife and put a zipper up my gut and open me up and find all this diseased organs in there. And some of it was fecal matter. Those people over there in Vietnam, they dipped their ammo and whatnot into fecal matter. They didn't care if they killed you or not. They just wanted you out of the game to make you sick. And of course, our own defoliation did a lot of that too, to a lot of us. That happened to affect me after I got out, not while I was still in, but it got pretty bad after I got out and stuff. So I wasn't a healthy one, even when I got out of the service.
But I mean, you look great. It's at your age. I mean, you got a pep in your step.
You know, I get told a lot of people. I had a gal join me here not too long ago, and I hadn't seen her in a couple of years. And she says, "You don't even have wrinkles at your age." And she asked me how old I was. And here about a month ago, I was in looking for some tires at Les Schwab for my wife's pickup. And this girl in there, I didn't think she was old enough to work there. Cute little thing. She looked up at me and says, "You've got the brightest eyes I think I've ever seen." And I do get compliments, but there again, it's that 20 years of using this stuff. And I do put it on my face every day. I do spray it. I have it in my truck. I drive down the road. I'll shoot a couple sprays on my face or in my eyes. Like Chip says, it's not how much, it's how often. Because the stuff doesn't last very long. It does its job, and it's full of toxins and whatnot fairly readily. So you got to keep applying it. So, and that's exactly what I do. I have it everywhere. I've got it beside my chair. It's in the kitchen. It's in my wife's vehicle. It's in my vehicle. It's a lifestyle change. And I can't seem to keep up with Avini because they keep changing my lifestyle every other day. They came out with a new product. I don't know where I'm going to put all these things. It's awesome because every single one of them has changed my life. And it's funny. Had Chris doing an event for us here not too long ago, and out of town, and about 8-10 people there. And this one gal pops up and says, "Yeah, I threw that plus fiber away." And I said, "You did what?" "Oh yeah, I don't need that." And so when Chris was busy doing something else, I got up and I grabbed that empty can of plus fiber and I took this over and I says, "Here, just read the front end of that can. That's all I want you to do. Just read that can." If everybody has not read the plus fiber can itself, read that. There's nobody that shouldn't have this in their lifestyle. That's amazing what they've put on the front end of this thing. And I tell people, it's not to make you go to the bathroom. That's the first thing they think of and stuff. But I believe in the product so much. It's changed in my life every time. The hydration is changing my skin. I've got dry skin, thanks to my mom. So, we've always had dry, cracky skin, and my skin is changing just since hydration. It's just, I can feel it. And so it's every product. Yeah, it's made a believer out of me. Yeah, I hope everybody else gets a hold of that.
Bill,
If I can help anybody,
has a hand up. Bill, you have
I'll do a three-way for anybody.
Thank you, Ray. I don't really have a question. It's more of just like a sharing or an observation. You know, I just love to share about the products, especially, of course, all of them, you know, but especially Cell Defender. I mean, only after 2 months of taking Cell Defender, which was what, June 29th, in 2 months, my A1C went from 6.0 to 5.8. My cholesterol went from 195 down to 175.
Wow.
And I mean, I haven't had that in what, 30 years?
That's a hand clap.
And my
Yeah.
triglycerides went from, I think, 127, I don't know, like down to either 75 or 50. I can't remember. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
That's awesome. The products work. Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
I always throw that in there.
Those
They're
look
guaranteed.
great, too.
Jody, are you coming on
Novella
there?
has her hand up too.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Novella, you have a comment, question? Welcome, Novella. Gotta unmute. All right, we'll prompt her to unmute.
There you
There
go.
she is. Hey, honey.
Muted. Okay, so yeah, I have a comment and a question. My comment is I would, you know, at times when I hear like people uh um like these guys on here are talking about their numbers, like Bill talks about his numbers. I don't go to the doctor, so I go to holistic doctors, so I don't know those numbers, right? But I can tell you this. I know that I got my memory back. I got my memory back. I started having conversations with people where I wasn't stopping in the middle and trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to say, or sitting there waiting for the word to come, and wishing and willing it to show up. I mean, anything that dealt with numbers or having to follow some kind of instruction and look at it, I would look at it and I would, you know, practically memorize the thing. And then 5 minutes later, I didn't know what it was I had read. And all of that is, just all of that is just past memory now. It's not, so anyway, but I'm here with one of my one of my team members, and I'm in Florida. And so she just got, I didn't know this, but she just got out of the hospital with, what is it? Diverticulitis. This is Candace. You guys can't see her because I got the filter on, but she and so she was, I was I was encouraging her to ask, like Chip or somebody or Ray or somebody on here, I don't know, what do they say about this? Because have you heard anything about diverticulitis? I mean, so what would you suggest for her?
Well,
That's a chipper.
I'm going to let them answer, but I've had that for years, and I've been on the product since January 14th, and I haven't had one episode since last January 14th. So that's personal testimony from me. But Chip, Ray, please jump in.
Well, it's a little difficult to improve on somebody jumping in and saying, that's me and I am out of that problem. I mean, it's it's more convincing, I think, to have Christine say that than to have me talk about it. But Ray said, read the front of the fiber bottle. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
It says reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, helps lower cholesterol. I mean, we've had these things spoken on the call already today, right? This happened for people. Stabilizes healthy blood sugar. We've had that, right? And supports healthy colon and gut. Well, we just had that. Mm-hmm. Stimulates the growth of healthy gut bacteria and all bacteria, the good ones. And it aids in the removal of toxic materials from the digestive tract. So that's what she was asking for that lady to read. And it's pretty cool because I want to just talk for a second about what Bill Spence said. People that are going in to have their blood work done or their physicals, you feel like you're showing off instead of going in worried. You go into the doc and I see Bill's head bopping up down. Completely different feeling when you go in and think, oh boy, I'm in trouble. It's going to be worse than last year, as opposed to going in and thinking, okay, I'm showing off. So you see Bill there with the thumb up. And that's predictable. It's reproducible. It happens every time. Everybody gets great blood work that is using these products consistently. And that's a pretty good indicator of what's happening. So let's just play with the lining of the gut a little bit. If you have a bad gut lining, then things that you ate are getting out of your digestive tract and into your blood before they're completely digested into nutrients.
Mm.
Your immune system looks at that and said, I don't know what that is. I better set up a defense against it. You're headed towards all kinds of autoimmune dysfunction right there. And when you get to the point that it is, diverticulosis or itis, literally the major lining of the gut starting to crack and break, that's a big deal. But it's going to go beyond that. When you begin to improve and you get those big fissures closed up, then you get down to the single cell lining of the entire digestive tract. And so you think about those little hair-like things that are in there absorbing your food, right? Those are the villi and the microvilli. They have a single cell lining, and the junction, it's actually called the tight junction between those cells, is making the decisions about whether things are ready to leave the gut and circulate in the blood or not. If they're getting it wrong, you're going to move closer and closer and closer to the health disaster cliff, because you've got all kinds of problems that are your food. Your digestive system is not being able to complete its work. The microbiome isn't what it ought to be, and you could really call Avini the gut company, the healthy gut company, right? But you could call it the healthy immune system company, just because of what happens right across that barrier, and then support that with the other products like Z-Immunity. Or you could call it the healthy brain, because you're taking the mercury out of the brain. Or you could call it, the healthy skin. We've had skin already today, right? Healthy work life. Look at Shu getting out, and running around with him is quite a treat. Going out, and he is just, you pretty much know if there's another human, you're going to wind up talking to him. And it's just the way he is. But he is like real positive all the time, but he's looking for a problem, because he likes to solve problems. So if he's going to solve problems, he has to find problems to solve. I don't know if he likes problems, but he does like solving problems. He made a career out of it. You talk about the dirtiest, nastiest hazmat mess you can come up with. Things like, and I'm not kidding, this is one of his, the Exxon Valdez disaster. And he's the guy that figures it out. He passes himself off as struggling with math. Well, his wife is supporting him, which is a wonderful thing. If you're the spouse of somebody who's involved in a company like this was my job with Marcia, you just don't touch the brakes. Let them run. And she figured out, let Ray run. And so that's really, really important. You don't want somebody, and you don't want your company riding the brakes either, right? You want your company to encourage you to go forth and multiply. And so those are all wonderful things. But we would expect that no matter what's right with you or wrong with you, because these ideas are so foundational. This is bottom line stuff. You do this, and we can't just do your gut. We can't just do your brain. We can't just do your eyes, not just your immune system, not just your skeleton. Ray says he's got 2 brand new skeletons out of this deal. I never heard anybody say that before, but yeah, that's kind of right. Every 10 or 12 years, you get another brand new skeleton. You can have another brand new skeleton with all the old lead still in it, plus 10 or 12 more years of lead. Or like Ray, you can have 2 brand new ones with no lead in them, because you've been using the product consistently, and that requires consistency. But you can't do any one of those things without doing all of them, because it all comes together. And you don't have to be so darn smart either. Like Ray said, if you basically know that you've got something that no matter what's wrong, this is going to help make it right, good enough for him. It doesn't matter who he talks to or what the situation is. he knows it's appropriate. And if it takes a wild turn and gets a little weird, he sort of knows who to call. You know, he can call. Yes, I'm sure he has a list of people to call for different things, but I get some of those calls. So anyway, those are some thoughts. But I would expect if your digestive system is throwing you, you know, curves and fits and stuff, how about the healthy liver company or the healthy kidney company, or, you know, you name it. But it's everything. So it's not just another thing. It's one thing that changes everything. Nothing you knew before and you brought with you that you love, you know, in way of products or behaviors or activities is suddenly of less value. You heard Ray talk about all the things he had done and worked with in the past. None of those are of less value. They're suddenly of their full value because you're pulling the things out of the way that kept them from working like they should have in the first place. So there's not an argument with somebody who represents something else. Their thing, whatever it is, keep doing it. That's the power of one more right thing. All we are is one more right thing.
You just went in the hospital.
It just happens to be a really bottom line thing. So that's a few
So-
thoughts. Yeah.
I think that was Novella. You
Yeah.
wanted to Go ahead.
I muted her. Go ahead.
Yeah, she was saying that she didn't get her question answered. And but Christine, she said that she's been taking the product, right? So, and she still went in the hospital. She wants to know what were you doing? Like, were you doing anything different, or?
Personally, what I was doing is I started on the Cell Defender and I started with the fiber. And I did a 1 scoop in the morning and I did 1 scoop later on in the day. But what I was finding, because I'm very lean, I started losing that extra belly of fat, right? So I decided to cut back on my fiber. And so I was like her, you know, I was new, I was exploring, I was trying to figure out, well, how much should I do? How much shouldn't I do? But I was finding that my lean body tissue, I was getting more of it. So, you know, as you age and you get those little cellulite pockets, those were going away. And I didn't have, like, my husband could tell you, if I could eat something that would give me that flare up of what we were talking about, that she and I both experienced, the only thing I could do is like lay flat on the floor or get in a warm bathtub. Like I avoid going to the hospital if I could help it. One time I went and realized, yes, that's what I do have. So I just managed the amount of fiber that I did. I use the fiber every day. I love what Ray said. Don't throw it out, because I find too, people say, oh, I have this issue and I can't take the fiber. Oh, I can't take the fiber because it's going to make me go to the bathroom. And they think that's no. It does all those other things. So I do Cell Defender. I do the fiber in my coffee in the morning. And I just had a bout of something else over right after the holiday of COVID. I called Chip and Marcy and Marcy said, add the mushrooms. So I added, the mushrooms. So, each of us listen to our own bodies. You explore what works for you, what, we can say this dose, that dose, the Marcy dose, if there's something acute or you're going on. But Candace, explore your own body. Hydrate. I love what Chip says. It makes water wetter. That hydration product. Oh my goodness. Amazing. So for sure, just keep at it. Don't give up. That's the key.
She said she won't give up.
No, I know she won't. I'm looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
Anything
So
else?
Christine,
Go
I want to share something. So, I've been doing the Hydration Plus for 2 months now since Dallas. And now 1 month that I have not woken up at 3 a.m. with horrible leg cramps. I mean, and I've been doing that for years and years and years. So, oh my goodness, I'm getting a full night's sleep now. So I love the Hydration Plus.
Yeah, I do too. I sent Craig out the door today he's out of his wheelchair, Chip. He's on crutch. on a crutch now, so he's listening. He's in the other room listening.
Yay.
I sent him out the door. His foreman came to pick him up, and I sent him out the door with the bowl jar filled with the hydration. So every day we do it. That's a winner for sure.
Yep.
That hydration product.
Oof.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Raise your hand if you want. Hi, Hannah. Is that
Ed.
your physical hand?
Am I up?
I think that's Hannah trying to talk, but we can't hear her.
We can't hear you, Hannah. No, can't hear.
She's doing sign language.
This is Jody.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Jody. Hey,
This
Jody.
is Jody. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Jody, yep.
Hey. Yeah, she had to call me out like this. I'm not good at like just talking to a group, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how I started the products. So I was diagnosed with bad cells on August 6th. And literally I had surgery the week before I got on a phone call with Shu, and I was in Dallas.
Amazing.
Wow.
She froze.
yeah.
Anybody else freezing?
Mm-mm.
Jody, it's just us, so it's okay that, none of us are good at talking to a group, right? But it's just us, so that's it. It's just your friends here to support you and what you're going through, and what you went through. Thank God she was there, right, to share that with you.
Yeah.
So I was
Mm. I think we lost her.
I think we lost her too.
Uh-huh.
I want to hear the rest of this story, if not today, another day.
No.
Sure, Jody.
Ed had his hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Ed.
I'm just gonna add one thing to what you said, Christine. Like, especially this time of year, we really have to be aware that we need that nano. Everybody around me is coming down with all this stuff. Like Christine, got sick recently, and so make sure you add that to your arsenal and have that because
Yeah.
people just don't know. They go, they get ibuprofen, they get the NyQuil and Dayquil and this, and it's like, man, and I've been around them in close proximity for the last 2 weeks. And, all of them have something, and I don't even worry. Really not because I'm loaded up. Every time I walk out the door, I've got everything in my bag, and I don't know if I'm going to be out for an hour or 4 hours, but just make sure you have that nano handy, especially this time of year.
Yeah, your battle bag, right?
Yeah.
Get your battle bag on. Jody, you're back. You cut out for-
yes. Yes, I apologize. My phone keeps cutting out for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So go ahead, continue your story. We only heard the first couple sentences.
Okay, so yes, so it was kind of crazy how everything worked out, and then once Shu mentioned zeolites, I of course Googled it. Like, I'm all into health and natural medicine, so it was only like a week after surgery. So I had surgery October 5th. Next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Dallas, and I meet Shu, and I go out there, and I'd been on the products. I got the products the day before I went to Dallas. I got back and I was scared to go to the oncologist after that, so I didn't go to the oncologist. I went to the oncologist for the first time about a month and a half after that. And then when I went to the oncologist, she said that it was caught early enough that they didn't think that I would need chemotherapy. She wasn't sure about radiation. So they did a bunch of lab tests. And I went in the other day and got the results from my lab tests. So I've been on the product since October, and all my labs came out perfect.
Oh,
So she said that the other day, she said that she doesn't even expect me to need radiation. She, of course, said that she, would like me to get advice from from an oncology radiation doctor, but I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to stick with what I'm doing. And so, yes, it's been crazy. It's been a godsend for sure.
Amen. All
Wow.
right. Well, we are so excited for you, and we're glad you're joining us here tonight to share that powerful, powerful
Absolutely.
testimonial. Thank you, Jody. Thank you
Chris,
so much.
Christine, Hannah had a question for Chip, and the question is, Chip, can you talk about taking the plush hydration combined with magnesium and minerals as it helps to take out the mercury in the body?
Yeah, sure. Well, there is, some of the electrolytes and minerals in the plus hydration product from Avini, but it's designed to help, as Carol said, make water wetter, so it will carry things into the cells, into the tissues. A lot of times we drink water and it feels like it's stuck in your stomach, and this will like immediately go into your tissues, which is really, really important for everybody, especially for people that are stressed in some way, athletes, for example. But when you talk especially about magnesium specifically, you give me an opportunity to teach something very important. Magnesium competes for the same space as mercury. There's competition for space between poisonous metals and biologically active metals. And the one that kicks magnesium out of the way is mercury. And one of the most dangerous places is at the highest step in the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria, which is where the energy that the spark of life is made. Adenosine triphosphate, ATP, is the spark of life. That third high energy bond in ATP has to have magnesium hovering near that bond. It's not part of the molecule, but it makes it active, or magnesium ATP. If mercury goes and kicks that particular magnesium ion out of the way, that spark will never be given. It's like pulling plug wires off of an engine. You just lose a little bit more power and a little bit more power all the time. People know that they should take magnesium for energy, but they take it and they don't feel like they get the effect. Well, why not? The reason is that magnesium can't kick mercury out of the way. The mercury is too strongly attached. When you begin to use Avini and you begin to actively pick up and carry out the mercury, then the magnesium that you're taking can get where it needs to go. Same way with zinc and arsenic. People take zinc for colds because it's going to go to zinc finger proteins and help make new immune cells. But arsenic will go to the center of that zinc finger protein and kick the zinc out of the way. It changes the shape of that protein, and an arsenic finger protein is dyslexic. It can't read DNA strands, so you don't get new cells that are properly made. And you can never take enough zinc to move the arsenic out of the way. Wow. But when you begin to use Cell Defender, it removes the arsenic. Now the zinc you've already got in your system can get where it needs to go, and you'll get the benefit that you expected. So using the building blocks is still good, but you just the battle for that space, the competition for the same space is so the bad metals always win. A lot more weight in the nucleus, a lot higher charge. They hold their electrons in a really small, tight orbit, and they kick the good one out of the way, and then they get stuck. And they're just stuck there, and they just sit there. Well, anything that quits moving inside of us is making it more likely that we're going to quit moving on the outside. I kind of like that. I just thought of that.
Thank you for answering that question. That's amazing.
Wow.
No,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can. Now we can.
Oh, okay, Chip, because I had a problem. And it has to do with the inflammation of the big toe. Usually with a lot of people, and I guess it's calcium crystalline that takes over the magnesium. So is this another thing that the plus hydration with the combination of magnesium would help?
I'm amazed you're still experiencing that.
I'm not at all, but I don't want anybody to ever go through what I went through.
Okay, I was going to say it absolutely does not make sense to me that you're using this product and have that problem. I was going back to
No,
does
no,
not.
but I'm going back to what I had.
Okay,
And
all
as
right.
I learned from you and Rick, it was because I was deficient, something else was taking over the magnesium.
For a second, I was going to resign my position because I didn't
No,
understand
no,
that.
but I just want other people to realize the power of what we have.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And so yeah, they talk about let's see, what's the stuff that holds bricks together? Oh, it's grout. Well, it kind of rhymes with that. And so you get this, and it actually yeah, it's actually uric acid that
Sure.
begins to come out of solution, and it turns to sand. And you literally have sand in those joints, and that's why they hurt so much. But all acidic waste will move out better in the presence of Avini products for sure. And I was just thinking, while I have both Priscilla and Hannah on, Hannah came on as a guest on my Wednesday call a couple of weeks ago, and then she and Priscilla and Paige worked on a book, and I thought it was really neat that jumped ahead and created an ongoing topic, and I thought that was neat. So Hannah, I was tickled that your expertise about that storytelling book, how to put your story together, literally grew legs and became a topic in the group. That was neat.
You just never know what's going to come out of this. Well, we're running out of time. It's almost 8:30, so I want to let Ray have an opportunity. Shu, we're gonna close this. So if you don't mind, do you have any parting words you want to share with our listeners before we go?
Well, like I said before, it was a real honor and unexpected to do this. I feel very privileged to be here and to be able to work with new people across country. I'm excited. I love meeting the new people, especially when they got the same mindset. And it gives me another avenue for another phone call. So don't be surprised that I start calling some of you guys for three-way phone calls. And I'm open to anybody to help them too and stuff. So God bless you all for doing this. And like Dave Johnson says, let's go do this.
Let's go do this. Right. Great close. I love it. Listen, everyone, we appreciate you being here tonight. Avini Vibes, go out and continue to rock the Avini Vibes. And we're going to see you all next week, next Thursday. Thank you for the great questions. And thank you for the stimulating answers that Chip gave us as well. And Shu, you're an awesome guest. Thanks for being with us tonight. God bless
Thank
each and every
you.
one of you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good
Thank you.
night. Good night.